Today we are preparing a simple spiced caramel drink. And yeah, sorry for the messy hob. It's much more visible on camera than live, and I didn't notice it before I sat down to edit the video, so it is what it is. Now this caramel drink, according to Folk Remedy, it's really great for coughing and sore throat. Now, I have no idea if it actually works or not, but it's a super comforting drink, so I make it every time someone is down with a cold or flu, or just in cold weather sometimes. I'm using a pot I know will accommodate the drink. If you are a little less experienced, make sure your pot has extra space so the milk won't run out if you mess it up and it starts to boil over. Because cleaning up burnt milk or caramel is never any fun, so be careful with it and make sure your pot can fit your drink and the stirring. Now this time I will make about 3 cups worth of it. I have already measured the milk, and I'm gonna use about 1 spoonful of sugar per cup. You can use more or less as you like, but a tablespoon per cup is actually a pretty good ratio for this. You will need to heat the sugar but not burn it, so make sure you are continuously stirring. That's kind of the most important part of the whole recipe, that you stir and never stop stirring. Now as the sugar heats up, it starts melting first and then it turns yellowish, and if you continue heating it up it will go on to darken orange and then red and then a dark brown. We will not get that far. We want to stop somewhere in a nice orange, deep orange color. Now if the pot is getting too hot, so some of it might be still solid while other parts are getting orangish, in that case you need to pull the pot off the heat so it doesn't get burnt halfway through while the other part is not yet anywhere ready. You can just lift the pot up if that ever happens, and that will slow the process down, and you can just stir it all together. Now if I'm going to call this color okay for me. If you prefer a stronger taste, you can go until you reach a deeper color. If you want just a slight of it, that's okay too. Then you need to stop when it's still yellowish. Now we will work off the heat and add a little bit of milk. When you add the cold milk to your hot caramelized sugar, it's going to solidify a lot of it. Some of it can stick to your spatula or wooden spoon, but the rest is going to stick to the pot. For the rest of this, we are going to work on getting it all dissolved again. Now if you stir continuously while you start adding the milk, the cold milk will not freeze all of your caramelized sugar solid immediately. You might have a better experience doing this. When you have half of the milk in the pot, you can get back onto the heat and continue stirring on the heat. Add the milk slowly, and as you add the milk you continue stirring, all the time stirring. Now you will want to stir until all of the resolidified caramelized sugar gets dissolved in the milk. Add all of your milk. Again, I am using a pot I know will accommodate this stuff, but I have done this so many times before, I do not expect any surprises. If you are less experienced with this recipe or just in general in the kitchen, use a bigger pot. At this point you can add your spices of your choice. Actually you don't really have to add anything, but some spices, especially the ones that you use in cold weather desserts intended to be consumed hot in general, will work very well. I am using cinnamon, cloves and nutmeg this time. If you've got an apple or pumpkin pie spice mix, that should work pretty well. But if you decide to not add any spices, that's fine too. The caramel itself has a strong enough taste. If you are adding more of it, more sugar to your milk, or you just prefer a lighter taste to it, that's perfectly fine. Now, as you are stirring, you should be able to feel the bits that are still solid and sticking to the bottom or even the side of the pot. And you really need to stir continuously, otherwise the high heat will straight up just burn the milk to the bottom of the pot. If you are gently scraping the bottom with your wooden spoon or spatula and you notice that all of a sudden you get stickiness where there wasn't any stickiness before, then you need to lower the heat immediately because your cooking is burning down. Now, gas hobs are quick to react, but electric hobs will take some time after adjustments, while the surface is still just as hot as before under the pot, so that will give you a much slower reaction. Again, you can just pull it off the heat if that ever happens. The same case if it starts boiling. Don't let your milk boil over. That's pretty bad to clear up. Now we are just going to stir and stir and stir and check if we have all of the caramelized sugar dissolved in the mixture. The spices are not going to dissolve, they are just going to float in there suspended and making it tasty. If it starts boiling before all of the caramelized sugar is dissolved, then we need to adjust the heat. We need to work on a slower heat with this to make sure that we get all of the caramelized sugar dissolved before it starts boiling. If you need to make adjustments, it's fine to just pull the whole pot off the heat, make the adjustments and put it back on slowly, carefully. After we have all of the caramelized sugar dissolved, we just want this to be hot enough to enjoy. It can get difficult to tell the temperature. If you see steam rising off of the pot, then you can be pretty sure it's hot. If you put your hand close to the surface, just be very careful not to touch it. You can feel the heat radiating off of it. That can give you a good idea about how hot it is. Once you no longer find any caramelized sugar bits that are still solid and the drink has reached the desired temperature, you are all done. All you need to do is ladle it into a mug, cozy up on the sofa and enjoy.